You have been taught a lie, a beautiful, comforting lie that has cost you more than you can measure. They told you to lead with kindness, to give others the benefit of the doubt, to show your good intentions first, and trust that others will reciprocate. But Niccolò Machiavelli knew what your teachers refused to tell you. Kindness shown first is not virtue, it is vulnerability. It is an invitation for exploitation. It is a signal that you are prey, not predator. The strong do not lead with kindness. They lead with boundaries, with tests, with measured distance. They make others prove their worth before investing trust, before offering generosity, before lowering their guard. Today, we reveal the strategy that separates those who are respected from those who are used, those who command loyalty from those who attract parasites, those who build empires from those who are devoured by the world. Never show kindness first. This is not cruelty. This is wisdom. This is survival. This is the price of power in a world where weakness is punished and strength is rewarded. If you lead with kindness, you teach others that taking from you is free. If you lead with strength, you teach them that earning from you is valuable. Think about your own life. How many times have you been generous with someone only to watch them take advantage? How many times have you given someone the benefit of the doubt only to be betrayed? How many times have you opened your heart first only to have it used against you? And what did you tell yourself afterward? That you were unlucky, that you chose the wrong person, that next time will be different, but next time was not different. It never is. Because the problem is not the people you choose. The problem is the strategy you employ. When you show kindness first, you attract people who specialize in exploiting kindness. You filter for takers, for manipulators, for those who have learned that appearing vulnerable or needy opens wallets and hearts. Your kindness is not a gift to them. It is an opportunity. And they will drain you until nothing remains, then move to the next generous fool who leads with their heart instead of their head. Machiavelli observed the courts of Renaissance Italy, watching princes rise and fall based on a single variable, whether they understood human nature or believed in fairy tales about human goodness. The princes who assumed the best in others, who gave trust freely, who rewarded before achievement, invariably fell. Their kindness was repaid with betrayal. Their generosity was answered with greed. Their mercy was met with contempt. Why? Because they violated the fundamental law of power. Never give others the weapon to destroy you, and kindness given prematurely is exactly such a weapon. It shows your softness. It reveals your need to be liked. It demonstrates that you can be manipulated through appeals to your better nature. And once others know this, they will exploit it ruthlessly. The princes who survived were those who tested first, who demanded proof of loyalty before granting favor, who maintained distance until others had demonstrated their worth through action, not words. They understood that in a world of wolves, appearing as a sheep gets you eaten. Before we continue exploring why leading with kindness is a fatal mistake and what you should do instead, if you're ready to stop being taken advantage of and start commanding genuine respect, subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss these insights on power, strategy, and human nature. Like this video if you've ever regretted being too kind too soon, and drop a comment sharing one time your kindness was exploited and what it taught you. Now let's dive into exactly why the strong never show kindness first and how you can adopt this strategy to transform your relationships, your career, and your life. The first reason you must never show kindness first is that it reverses the natural power dynamic. In any new relationship, professional or personal, there is an initial period of evaluation where both parties assess each other's value, trustworthiness, and intentions. This is healthy. This is necessary. This is how humans have survived for millennia, by being cautious with strangers until they prove themselves. But when you lead with kindness, with generosity, with immediate trust, you short-circuit this evaluation period. You signal that you do not need to assess the other person because you have already decided they are worthy. This is a catastrophic error. It places you in the position of supplicant, of the one trying to win approval, of the one willing to give before receiving. The power dynamic has inverted. You are now the one proving your worth to them, not the reverse. And once this dynamic is established, it is nearly impossible to reverse. Consider a job interview where the candidate immediately offers to work for free, to take on extra responsibilities, to do whatever it takes to prove themselves. Does this desperation make them more attractive? No. It signals low value. It suggests they have no other options, that they are willing to be exploited, that they do not believe in their own worth enough to demand fair compensation. The employer immediately categorizes them as weak, as someone who can be underpaid and overworked because they have already demonstrated they will accept it. Contrast this with the candidate who is polite but evaluative, who asks as many questions as they answer, who makes it clear they have options and are assessing whether this opportunity meets their standards. This candidate is attractive. Why? Because they have maintained the power dynamic. They have not given away their leverage through premature kindness or desperate accommodation. They have forced the employer to sell them on the position rather than begging for it. The same principle applies to friendships and romantic relationships. The person who is immediately available, immediately generous, immediately emotionally vulnerable, appears low value. They seem desperate for connection, willing to accept anyone who will have them. This desperation repels high-quality people and attracts predators. High-quality people are selective. They respect boundaries. They appreciate those who make them work to earn trust and affection. But predators seek easy targets, and nothing signals an easier target than someone who gives without requiring anything in return. When you lead with kindness, you are advertising yourself to predators while simultaneously making yourself unattractive to the people actually worth knowing. Machiavelli would call this strategy exactly backward, and he would be right. The second reason never to show kindness first is that it prevents you from gathering essential information about character. People reveal who they are through how they treat you when you give them nothing. If someone is kind, respectful, and genuine when you have offered them no special treatment, no favors, no advantages, then their character is likely solid. They are being authentic, not strategic. But if someone is only kind after you have shown kindness first, you have learned nothing about their character. They might be genuinely good people responding to your generosity, or they might be manipulators who have recognized an opportunity and are mirroring your behavior to extract more from you. You cannot tell the difference. Your premature kindness has contaminated the data. You can no longer assess whether their positive behavior toward you is authentic or strategic. Machiavelli teaches that the prince must understand the true nature of his subjects, his allies, his potential enemies. But understanding requires observation, and observation requires maintaining enough distance to see clearly. When you immediately involve yourself emotionally, when you invest before others have proven themselves, you cloud your judgment. You become biased. You want to believe your investment was wise, so you ignore red flags. You rationalize betrayals. You give second, third, fourth chances to people who have already shown you who they are. All because you showed kindness first, and now you are committed to justifying that decision. The strong person avoids this trap entirely. They remain neutral initially. They observe. They test. They create situations where the other person's true character reveals itself. Only after this evaluation, only after consistent evidence of good character, do they begin to invest kindness, trust, and resources. And because they waited, their investment is strategic rather than desperate, measured rather than reckless. Think about the difference between lending money to a friend who has always repaid debts versus lending money to someone who has not yet proven financial responsibility. The first is a calculated risk based on evidence. The second is hope disguised as kindness. And hope is not a strategy. It is a wish. And wishes do not protect you from exploitation. The strong person makes decisions based on evidence, and evidence requires time, observation, and the discipline not to give prematurely. Machiavelli never advises acting on hope. He advises acting on calculation, on understanding human nature, on recognizing patterns. You cannot recognize patterns in someone you just met. You must observe them across situations, across time, across challenges. Only then do you have sufficient data to decide whether kindness is warranted or whether it will be weaponized against you. The third reason to withhold initial kindness is that it establishes you as someone who must be earned, not someone who is freely available. Value is determined by scarcity and selectivity. What comes easily is valued little. What must be worked for is valued highly. When you give your kindness, time, resources, and trust freely to everyone, you signal that these things have no value. Anyone can have them, there is no need to earn them. You are abundant to the point of worthlessness. But when you make people work for your kindness, when they must prove themselves worthy of your time and trust, suddenly these things become valuable. You become someone worth impressing, worth earning, worth maintaining a relationship with. This is not manipulation. This is basic economics applied to human relationships. Machiavelli observed that princes who give titles, land, and favor too easily lose respect. Why? Because what is given without effort is not appreciated. The noble who received his title through hard service values it and remains loyal. The noble who received his title as a gift feels no obligation and may even resent the prince for reminding him of his dependence. Human psychology is perverse in this way. We value what we work for and dismiss what comes free. So if you want to be valued, make people work for access to you. Make them demonstrate consistency, reliability, good character before you open yourself to them. Those who stay, those who put in the effort, those who prove themselves over time will value the relationship deeply because they invested in it. Those who leave because you would not immediately give them everything they wanted have revealed themselves as unworthy, and you have lost nothing because you invested nothing. Consider the friend who is always available versus the friend who has boundaries and priorities. The always available friend gets calls only when convenient, gets taken for granted, gets canceled on frequently. Why? Because their availability signals they have nothing better to do, no other relationships, no valuable time. They are the backup plan, not the first choice. The selective friend, the one who sometimes says no, who has other commitments, who makes you schedule in advance, gets treated with respect. Their time is valuable because it is scarce. People plan around them. People show up because they know the opportunity will not always be available. This is not about playing games. This is about signaling truth. If your time genuinely is valuable, act like it. If your trust genuinely should be earned, require that it be earned. Do not give away for free what should cost effort to obtain. The fourth reason never to show kindness first is that it protects you from the sunk cost fallacy. Once you have invested kindness, time, or resources into someone, you become psychologically committed to that investment paying off. When they betray you, when they take advantage, when they show their true colors, you face a painful choice. Admit the investment was wasted, or double down and give them another chance, hoping to salvage the relationship. Most people double down. They have already given so much that walking away feels like losing everything they invested. So they stay in bad relationships, toxic friendships, exploitative jobs, hoping their continued investment will eventually be rewarded. It never is. The person who took advantage once will take advantage again, because you have taught them you will tolerate it. Machiavelli warns against throwing good money after bad, against reinforcing failure, against allowing past investments to dictate future strategy. But avoiding this trap requires not making premature investments. If you give little initially, if you require proof before you give more, then cutting losses is easy. You invested almost nothing. Walking away costs you almost nothing. You are free to move on without the psychological burden of sunk costs. But if you led with kindness, if you gave your heart and resources immediately, you are trapped. The sunk cost is enormous, and you will rationalize staying far longer than you should, suffering far more than you would have if you had simply waited to see who the person actually was before investing. Think about business partnerships where one person invests capital upfront while the other promises future work. If the work never materializes, the investor faces the sunk cost dilemma. They have already invested, so they pressure the partner to deliver, often investing more time and money trying to salvage the situation. If they had required proof of the partner's work ethic before investing, they would have avoided the entire situation. The same applies to personal relationships. The person who is immediately emotionally available, immediately supportive, immediately accommodating becomes invested before knowing if the other person deserves it. And once invested, they tolerate behavior they never would have accepted from a stranger, because admitting they chose poorly is too painful. The strong person avoids this by keeping initial investment minimal. Be polite, be professional, be neutral, but be neither generous nor unkind. Reserve judgment, observe, and invest only after evidence justifies investment. The fifth reason to withhold initial kindness is that it sorts people into those who are genuinely good and those who are transactional. Good people do not require that you be kind first. They are kind because that is their nature. They treat you well regardless of what you give them. They respect boundaries. They appreciate fairness. They understand that trust is earned. These people will remain in your life even if you are initially cautious. In fact, they will respect you more for having boundaries, for not being a pushover, for evaluating them rather than immediately accepting them. These are the people worth knowing. But transactional people, manipulators, exploiters, cannot tolerate your caution. They need you to give first so they can take. When you do not immediately offer kindness, they become frustrated. They pressure you. They guilt-trip you. They call you cold, paranoid, or unfriendly. And then, crucially, they leave. They move on to find easier targets. And this is perfect. You have filtered them out without cost. Your boundary was a test and they failed. Machiavelli teaches that the prince must distinguish between genuine allies and fair-weather friends. But this distinction is impossible if you treat everyone well immediately. You must create conditions that reveal true character, and withholding premature kindness is one of the most effective tests. Those who pass the test, who remain respectful and consistent despite not receiving immediate rewards, have proven themselves worthy. Those who fail the test, who become hostile or manipulative when you do not immediately give them what they want, have saved you from a costly mistake. You discovered their true nature early, before you were invested, before they could do real damage. This filtering mechanism is invaluable. It is the difference between a life filled with genuine relationships and a life filled with users disguised as friends. Consider online interactions where scammers test for easy marks. They send messages asking for small favors, small amounts of money, small violations of normal boundaries. Those who comply immediately are marked as targets. Those who refuse or question are abandoned for easier prey. The same dynamic operates in all relationships. Your willingness to give without receiving, to trust without evidence, to invest without proof marks you as either a target or someone to be respected. The strong person refuses to be the target. They set the terms. They require others to demonstrate value before receiving value. And in doing so, they ensure that everyone in their life has earned their place, has proven their character, has demonstrated that the relationship is mutual rather than parasitic. Now let us discuss what you should do instead of showing kindness first. The alternative is not cruelty. It is not hostility. It is strategic neutrality combined with clear boundaries. When you meet someone new, in any context, you should be polite, but distant, professional, but not personal, respectful, but not warm. You are Switzerland, neutral, observing, making no commitments. This neutrality serves multiple purposes. It protects you from premature investment. It allows you to gather information about the other person's character. It establishes that you are not desperate for connection, and it creates space for the other person to reveal themselves through their behavior toward you when you are giving them nothing special. Machiavelli advises that the prince should appear merciful, faithful, humane, upright, and religious, but should be ready to act contrary to these when necessary. The key word is appear. You are not hostile. You are not obviously evaluating. You are simply reserved. You ask questions. You listen. You observe how they treat others, especially those who have no power. You notice whether they gossip, whether they respect boundaries, whether their words match their actions. You create small tests. Do they repay small favors? Do they respect your time? Do they respect when you say no? And you do all this while investing almost nothing emotionally or materially. You are gathering intelligence, and intelligence gathering requires detachment. During this evaluation period, which should last weeks or months depending on the relationship type, you respond proportionally. If they are respectful, you are respectful. If they are helpful, you are helpful. You mirror and match, but you never exceed. You never give more than you receive. This keeps the relationship balanced and prevents you from overinvesting before they have proven themselves. Machiavelli calls this prudence, the virtue of measured action, of never extending yourself beyond what the situation warrants. The imprudent person gives everything hoping for the best. The prudent person gives carefully, watching for results, adjusting based on evidence. Only after someone has consistently demonstrated good character over time, only after they have passed your tests, only after they have proven that they value the relationship and will not exploit your kindness, do you begin to open up. You become warmer. You become more generous. You invest more deeply. But even then, you remain watchful. You continue to verify that your trust is warranted, because people can maintain a mask for a time, but eventually their true nature emerges. If you remain observant, you will catch the warning signs before you are fully committed. But if you gave everything up front, you will be trapped, invested in someone who has now revealed themselves to be unworthy. This strategy of measured revelation, of proportional investment, of never showing kindness, first creates relationships that are strong, balanced, and genuine. The people who remain after this filtering process are those who value you for who you are, not for what you give. They stayed even when you gave them little, which means they are not with you for transactional reasons. They prove themselves through consistency, through patience, through genuine character. These are the people who will stand with you when times are hard, who will not betray you when it benefits them, who have earned the right to your trust, your kindness, your loyalty. And these relationships, rare as they are worth more than 100 shallow connections built on your premature generosity. The strong also understand that kindness is not weakness, but kindness given indiscriminately is. There is a time for kindness, but that time is after trust has been established, after loyalty has been proven, after someone has demonstrated that they will not abuse your generosity. Machiavelli does not say never be kind. He says be kind strategically to those who deserve it, in ways that strengthen your position rather than weaken it. Kindness to a loyal ally reinforces their loyalty. Kindness to someone who has helped you encourages future help. Kindness to those under your protection inspires devotion. But kindness to strangers who have done nothing to earn it. Kindness to those who have not proven themselves. Kindness given from hope rather than evidence. This is not virtue. This is foolishness disguised as morality. Think about nature. Does the lion show kindness to unknown animals? Does the wolf trust strangers in its territory? No. Animals understand instinctively what humans have forgotten. Strangers are potential threats until proven otherwise. Caution is survival. Trust is earned through repeated positive interactions. This is not cruelty. This is reality. And humans, for all our civilization, operate under the same fundamental rules. Those who forget this, those who lead with kindness because it feels morally superior, those who trust first and verify later, they are the ones who get hurt, exploited, betrayed. Then they become cynical, bitter, closed off. They swing from one extreme to the other, from naive openness to complete distrust. The strong person avoids both extremes. They are neither naively kind nor pointlessly cruel. They are strategic, they observe, they test, they give proportionally, and they build relationships that last because they are based on evidence, not hope. So here's the truth that Machiavelli reveals, and that the strong have always known. Never show kindness first. Not because kindness is wrong, but because timing is everything. Kindness shown too early is vulnerability exploited. Kindness shown too freely is value destroyed. Kindness shown without reciprocation is respect lost. But kindness shown after trust is earned, after loyalty is proven, after character is demonstrated, this kindness is powerful. It cements relationships. It inspires devotion. It creates genuine bonds. The difference is not in the kindness itself, but in when and to whom it is given. The weak give kindness hoping to receive something in return. The strong give kindness knowing the recipient has already earned it. This is the strategy of the strong. This is how you protect yourself from exploitation while still building meaningful relationships with those who deserve them. Lead with boundaries, not with generosity. Lead with tests, not with trust. Lead with observation, not with assumption. And give your kindness only to those who have proven they will honor it rather than abuse it. This is not being cold. This is being wise. This is not being cruel. This is being strategic. This is not being closed off. This is being selective. And selectivity is the foundation of power. of respect, of relationships that endure. Machiavelli understood this. The strong have always practiced this, and now you know it too. The question is whether you have the discipline to act on it, to resist the comfortable lie that leading with kindness makes you good, and to embrace the uncomfortable truth that leading with strength makes you safe.